you ever read a sales page and just knew that whatever was being offered there, whatever product or service, you had to buy it? The reason that that worked for you and made you feel that way was because the page itself was making you feel a certain way. Maybe like there was some impending sense of doom, and if you didn't make this purchase, you were gonna have that doom befall you and you would forever have darker days than you have now. Or maybe it would make you feel like you could conquer the world or at least have a more pleasurable life or something like that. What that page did really well was to frame the narrative, to get you to think and feel a certain way so that you'll be more likely to take a certain action. What they did is they used the framing effect, and the framing effect is an incredibly effective tool for you to use on your website to get more sales out of people basically now. So today I'm going to tell you exactly what the framing effect is, how to use it, and I'm going to show you some great tactics to win big with the framing effect. My name is Trent Kennelly. I'm a marketing strategist, and on this channel I talk about all the things that you can do to improve your business through marketing, sales, and analytics. So if that sounds good to you and you're excited, make sure that you like this video, subscribe to my channel if you're into it, comment and let me know what page really got your attention this way. I'd love to know. I'll add it to my swipe file, and let's get started. All right, so what is the framing effect? The framing effect is a psychological trigger that if we frame things in a certain way, people are going to be more or less likely to take an action. So a really good example here is a study that was done in England a couple years ago. You can check out the link in the description to the full scientific study if you like to be tortured. But just the gist of the study here is everybody was given $50 in this study, and they were told you're not going to be able to keep all $50. Now you have the choice of either holding on to $20 or losing $30. So you do the math and you think, well, that's actually exactly the same, but people were more likely to pick the option that allowed them to save $20 because it was framed in a way that made it feel positive and better for them. Out of that $50, they get to hold on to $20 rather than out of that $50, 30 of it is going to go out of their pocket immediately. So what you're trying to do here is you're trying to get in that person's head and get them to think in a certain way. And when it comes to sales and marketing, framing is the exact same thing. You're trying to get inside your client's head, position their thoughts in a certain way, and then direct them towards a desire that you want them to feel and towards a reaction that you want them to have when you present your product or your service. All right, so how do we use the framing effect? Well, as with all things, it first comes down to understanding what your customer wants, how they respond to certain stimuli, whether they're going to be more interested in buying things if they want to avoid a fear or avoid some sort of a loss. That would be loss aversion or FOMO that you would use in that kind of approach with your customers. You can check out this video for lots of info on FOMO. Or it could be that you want to focus on happier things, more positive things to make people feel more positive when they buy from you. What we're really talking about is two sides of good copywriting. Copywriting either comes down to toward pleasure copywriting or away from pain copywriting. Now we're going to get into these in a lot of detail in just a second, but for now just understand that toward pleasure copywriting makes your reader feel like they're moving towards something good, like they're going to have a better life as a result of your product or your service. Away from pain makes it feel like there is some pain or fear or something coming that they want to avoid, and your product or your service will help them to avoid that. So you don't want to be poor, here's a way to make a lot of money fast would be a really good example there. All right, so let's dig into toward pleasure a little bit more. So again, toward pleasure copywriting is making the reader feel like there is some progress or growth in some way. And so that's really the broad strategic focus for you, is to make sure that people feel like they're going to be growing as a human being as a result of this purchase. From a copy perspective, you want to tell a story with a positive frame. So a really good example here is Coca-Cola. Every commercial that Coke has put out in the last 50 years has been positive. I can't think of a single one that has had pain avoidance as its focus, unless you go back to the 50s when they're talking about how Coke cures illnesses or something crazy like that. Everybody in Coke commercials is always like riding around on skates or hanging out with friends, and it's always a better life as a result of drinking a Coke. They always frame Coke as a product that's going to make your life more enjoyable and better. Now for away from pain, again, you're setting in people's minds that there's gonna be some pain in their life, or there already is, and they can avoid that pain or get over it by buying from you, okay? So you wanna set that frame in people's minds that they're soon going to be facing that problem or are facing that problem as the setup before you knock them down with your solution, okay? So a really good example here is President Johnson's ad against Barry Goldwater in the 70s. So this was a revolutionary ad at the time. It shows this little girl just kind of, you know, picking flowers, and then all of a sudden she gets blown up by a nuke, and we've got Johnson over the top doing a voiceover saying things like, "These are the stakes."
These are the stakes. To make a world in which all of God's children can live, or to go into the dark.
Heavily implying that if you elect Barry Goldwater, he's going to lead you directly to nuclear war. So really crazy commercial, very controversial at the time, probably would be today even, but it was very effective at showing that negative frame and getting people to be more interested in going towards Johnson to get away from that idea of nuclear war, which nobody wants. All right, let's do some tactics, and the first one I want to give you is specific language. So you need to be more specific and less general in your descriptions for your copywriting. Buy this cell phone is way less interesting and way less influential than, in the pleasure sense, stay connected with friends and connect with family anytime using the cell phone, or in the pain sense, never lose touch with family in a crisis. Stay aware of what's going on using this cell phone. So you can see more specific language means it's way easier to frame the reader's mindset the way that you want, either positive or negative. It doesn't have to take a paragraph, you can do it in a sentence, which of course means that it's much easier to, once you've set their mind a certain way, sell to them in the way that you want. Next, visualization. So this is kind of like storytelling in the sense that you're putting ideas into people's heads and they are seeing things happening. What you're trying to do is put your reader in an optimal place in their minds so that they are effectively convincing themselves to take an action. So good examples here from a pleasure perspective. Relax in elegant luxury while our expert staff tends to your every need. From a pain perspective, stop working the same boring desk job day after day for the rest of your life. Come be an entrepreneur. So you can see how both of these are very visual. In that first one, in the pleasure example, we are imagining ourselves sitting on a lounge chair, reading a book. People are bringing everything that we want to us. We got a Cosmo in our hand. Sounds like a great time. I want to be there right now. In the pain example, we're imagining a dreary, drab desk job where everybody is a robot and you're bored out of your mind and you don't want to have to do this the rest of your life, and so you want to find some way to go live a more exciting life, so go be an entrepreneur. So both of these are very visual, you can see. And then finally, impact duration. So this can help to get people to make decisions based on the effect that that decision is going to have on their life in both the short term and the long term, or based on the length of time that they're most interested in. So for instance, let's use pleasure and long term as the two variables here. Feel as soft and smooth on Friday as you did on Monday. This facial cream lasts a whole week. So you don't want to put on a facial cream and just have it last 12 hours and then you're back to having rough skin. If you can get it to last a whole week, that frame is going to make people feel much more interested in buying that product. Now let's use pain and short term. Stop knee pain instantly with fast and effective high pressure CO2 cryotherapy. So you have knee pain, you want to get rid of it right now. You don't want to have to wait. So this pain, the knee pain, very direct pain in this instance, is going to be cured instantly when you use this high pressure CO2 cryotherapy. So there are others, but I just want to round this out really quickly by talking about combinations. So it's a good idea to combine as many of these ideas as possible. If you can create a visualization that establishes an impact duration using highly specific language, you're going to be in really good shape to have a huge impact when somebody is reading this sentence. What does that mean? You just used a lot of buzzwords. Well, let me just give you a good example. So this is an example I'm gonna make up on the spot from Disney about their Disney Fast Pass at their theme parks. Disney, I'm totally making this up. Please don't sue me. Okay, here we go. Bored of standing in endless lines and missing rides because of huge wait times? Grab a Fast Pass. It'll get you to the front and onto the next ride in no time. So you can see how that gives you that visualization to begin with of being bored and standing in lines. It then gives you an impact duration about being able to buy this Fast Pass and instantly go to the front of the line and onto the next one. And it's very specific when it establishes that pain and the solution to that pain. So that's the framing effect in a nutshell. I would really encourage you to think hard about using it. It is super, super effective. Let me know if you can think of a time that this worked on you, or if as a result of this video, you've decided to form a sentence or a paragraph using the framing effect. Just shoot it in the comments. I would love to be able able to help you out, or you can DM me on Instagram or LinkedIn. You can find those up here. Just shoot me a message and I would love to be able to help you out with that. Otherwise, make sure that you like this video, subscribe to my channel if you're into it, and I'll catch you in the next one.